Has anyone ever created a guide for a proxy mortal all-in counter? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a match here where we're going to break down how to defend the Proxy Cannon Shield Battery Robo all-in. This is one of the more popular all-ins from Protoss. Most of the time it's a one base economy setup. Sometimes they can expand off the back of it, but this was a pretty good case of what it looks like and how you can try to defend. So I like to go 16 hatch. If I don't want my base to be blocked by a probe, sometimes I'll go 15 hatch. And my second overlord here is watching over my natural. So the probe has the first pylon here. From my perspective, I'm kind of thinking about where is the probe? Oh, I see this now. So I'm going to have some drones attack the probes. Sometimes you can kill the probes. If both probes die, you've basically defended the rush until they send another across the map. But in this case, they did get these 3 pylons set up here at the area between my main and my natural. And there's a cannon down here as well. So this is a problem. I'm not going to be able to transfer anything from the main to the natural for a while. So this base is pretty much toast. So what do I do in this circumstance? I'm trying to have these drones focus down one pylon, and then you can see a shift attack command to this cannon. Sometimes, if you're fast enough, you can break through and then get on top of the probe or the cannon. But this Protoss did a good job setting this up. This cannon is very well protected by these pylons, so I can't break this, so I'm going to give up this location. Good job, Protoss. This overlord being here is a mistake. I do end up losing this. I cancel this base because I don't feel like I'm going to be able to defend it or get much value from it. And now I'm in a very bad situation. And the reason that this, I think, is a good example case of how to defend this build is because I didn't just smash the opening. I do have to figure out how to respond to this whenever the opening went poorly for me. So I'm getting 2 gases here in a pool. I had my drone attack a probe. I end up messing this up as well, which is kind of a bummer. The probe leads the drone back to the cannon and it dies, but I'm focused on getting my build ready up here. So I'm making 2 overlords to unsupply block myself, and I'm getting 2 gases right away, even to the point that my saturation on minerals is under 16. Normally you would not want to do this, but I have a goal in mind. 5 Ravagers. I want to get 5 Ravagers so that I can bile down shield batteries and that kind of thing, and even go a little bit higher than that if I want to bile down cannons and pylons. So I'm making a queen and a roach warren and no ling speed. I'm trying to rush up to that ravager count as quickly as I can. I'm trying to send my overlords away from the cannon rush to give me a little bit of vision, but also to be pretty cautious about it. And I have this overlord patrolling in here so I can see when this base is taken. First queen is out. And I made a spine just in case they send a zealot. That happens pretty often. Mining from both gases, and I'm making a second queen. Making queens is good because they gain value over time. They can transfuse each other, so in a way, the Protoss is setting up their shield batteries and cannons, and they're getting energy value by healing their units, by replenishing the shields. You can do a similar thing by massing queens and transfusing your other units. So you're both using energy and regeneration to take fights over time. So here go the shield batteries. A couple stalkers are on the way, and then here's the Robo. You really want to keep these queens defensive and patient. The stalker is going to be shooting at this base, taking some hit points off of it, but this is pretty beefy. It's got 1,500 health. So I want to use hold position here. My 2 queens are on a hotkey, and I want to have them on hold position so they can spread creep, inject, and transfuse, but not fight into this. If they fight into this, they will lose. So we want to be patient here. I'm making my roaches. I have 4 roaches and a ravager. Roaches are very low DPS, so you want to make them into Ravagers pretty much as soon as you can. I'm waiting for this Overlord to finish so I can make them all at once. Trying to get these queens to inject. It's very chaotic and it's awkward to control your units, so just kind of accept that. It's annoying and it's a bummer, but this is a winnable situation. So I'm making my Ravagers here at the back, trying to keep my queens safe. I didn't move this spine up on purpose, because the stalkers can just shoot at it and chip away and then recharge from the batteries. So I'm dropping some biles. That wasn't quite enough to kill it, but it is wounded now, so the next round of biles will kill it. And this is where we want to look at the units lost tab, because I'm trying to conserve my units and use the bile cooldown to deal consistent damage at a distance to the Protoss' setup here, and then gradually work into something else, which you'll see in a bit. So we're just trying to keep the Ravagers alive. If you can keep the low HP ones in the back, that's great. So I have my third queen coming up, just trying to spend my minerals. And now I'm going to circle over here to the top side of the base and hit some biles. The first immortal is out. And I want to back up the queens. Inject and then back up. Use the hatchery as a buffer of health. That's your shield here. We're attacking in. Kill the cannon. Cool. Let's look at the units lost tab. It's around even. Nice. So even with their regen, we're trading evenly, because we have transfuse and we have biles. Taking another fight here. Filing this down. And we have 6 Ravagers, 2 queens. And if you're biling stuff down fast enough, the batteries will run low on energy. There is the battery overcharge ability, but Protoss can't use that unless the battery is in range of a Nexus. So these are too far away from their base for them to be able to overcharge them. So I'm still just keeping with this rhythm of making queens, making Ravagers, trying to transfuse, trying to keep the base injected, and spend my larva and not be supply blocked. Build another building, keeping the queens alive. We're biling this battery. Roaches get taken out really fast because the Immortals have bonus to armored, but Ravagers don't have the armored tag, so they do quite a bit better against Immortals. We've almost secured the high ground, but not quite. I'm still biling buildings. Buildings can't dodge the biles, but their units can, so biling the units usually isn't as good. We've made some progress now. I'm taking Ling speed now, because I feel like my Ravager count has been pretty consistent and steady, and I still have some money in the bank. We're biling this pylon, transfusing the spine, and we're biling the pylon. And we have the high ground here, which is great. But Protoss has something else coming up here. There's a Robo Bay. So they're going to be going for Disruptors next. Disruptors are pretty tough. Pretty tough to deal with. You want to make sure that you have your stuff pre-split and you're ready to dodge the attacks. The Purification Nova is pretty fast, so if you can be on creep to dodge those, it's going to be a lot easier for you. I'm still chipping away at batteries. The spine is an anchor. This is an important note here, that the spine is not right at the edge, because that makes it really easy for them to just come up, kill it, and then run away. Having it a bit further back forces them to commit up to the high ground more before they can actually shoot at this. And I went for a lair. Why did I go for a lair? For roach speed? No, definitely not for roach speed. For something else. Something a lot better in this situation. 9 Ravagers is pretty beastly. If you hit the biles directly between 2 structures that are right next to each other, you can hit both. So I got the cannon and then also injured the pylon there. I'm starting to mine out here. So is the Protoss. And they're spending all their money too, so it's not like they have enough money to take a base, really. They could take a base instead of making a second Robo. But obviously not here, since there are a bunch of buildings in the way. I made a Nidus. And I have this Overlord going on a special mission here soon. It's gonna go over toward the main. I'm trying to spread out and dodge these biles. Biling here is pretty nice. We killed an Immortal. And I want to try to have a concave whenever I can. It's a lot harder for them to focus down your front line if it's distributed in a nice arc. Okay, the Nidus is done. I like to hotkey the Nidus entrance. Dodging that. Yeah, we got some. Pretty average. Okay, the Nidus is set up. The Overlord's still... Come on, dude. It's a stressful situation. You're gonna make mistakes, and so will the opponent. So they just shaved off a couple more queens, and then we're Nidusing here. The opponent is still focusing on attacking, and the disruptor count is up to 5, which is pretty scary. The Ravagers are in here, and now we're on the probes. And this is going to be really difficult for the Protoss to handle because they didn't have a cannon here. There's like a random cannon here, but even if there was a cannon in the base, the Ravagers can bile that pretty fast. And this makes it really hard for the Protoss because they want you to have all your stuff in one place so they can focus down your army with these Purification Novas. But if you have some of your stuff at home and some of your stuff here, they're not going to get as amazing of shots. They killed the Ravagers. These fights are going to be pretty ugly. It's just how it is. Yep, that's how it is. But the Biles and the Queens are good. It does take 2 hits for the Disruptors to kill your Queens. And the Ravagers put in work. I didn't make that many Lings. Another thing that I could have done here is send a drone through and then I could take a base. Or I could just Nidus over here and take a base somewhere else. You do want to make sure that if you expand during this, you put the base on a different control group than your main one, so you don't have units being rallied through the cannon rush. So yep, there's a basic setup for how to respond to the Cannon Shield Battery Robo all-in, using Ravagers into a Nidus later on.